All right, we're live. It's just me, just doing a quick check-in. We didn't have a show on Friday because Thursday we went to the Tooele County Convention, and then Friday, Dave left town. He went down to Texas to watch some volleyball, or I'm gonna visit some friends, what have you. Anyways, while we were at the convention, we ran into our local senator, Sen Dan Thatcher, and caught up with him, had a quick chat. It was a good chat, but he updated us on, as a lot of you may have heard, some of his health issues. And so we did record it. It's a crappy recording done with a crappy camera and a crappy setup, but you can hear it. And I'm going to go ahead and play that, and then we'll check in. It's just a quick 10-minute chat about it. We got kicked off because apparently our mics and the Tooele Auditorium's mics bleed over. But before we do that, I just want to do a quick announcement that at the Tooele County Convention, Holly Crowley was re-elected into our Tooele County Republican chair. It's a Republican convention. Let me think. We got I think I'm trying to get a list for. Okay, here we go. So, chair Holly Crowley Rabani, vice chair Alan Layton, secretary Mike Stewart, treasurer Whit Cook, and then our SCCs are Whit Cook and Chad Grady Saunders. Ballot counters were Eric Gumbrecht and Jake Parkinson. So yeah, it not a lot changed over in the county Republican leadership. And also I'd like to extend the offer to the Democrat Party out here. If you have something like that and you would like us to attend just to report on it, we will gladly show up. I mean, just send the invite, and it'll just be an open thing. But we don't get a lot of interaction from them. Hopefully we do in the future, because I think that's how we stay healthy. But anyways, so that turned out pretty good. It was a good meeting, decent turnout. And then after I'm done showing this video with the senator, I think we should check back in on some of the conversation. We want to get the senator on for another conversation in the future that a lot of people, I'm sure, have heard about and maybe have thoughts on. And the cat's now joining me, and he wants food, so he may have to wait. But I am going to roll over and play this for you.
Tooele Happy Hour, where if Head Trauma had a podcast, it would sound like this. Jared Anderson, Dave Weiss,
Too soon,
and our
David.
senator.
Too soon.
Daniel
Thatcher.
Thatcher.
Hey.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
thanks for coming and sitting with us.
Yeah. Well, I do have to get in on the,
Yep.
on the thing in here.
Don't want to.
But just real quick. So most of you probably know I had a stroke, or two, or four. First
Was
two
it four?
strokes- Yeah. We ended up with four total.
Were they like back to back, just rolling through?
So just real quick, first two strokes happened at the same time, and I was hospitalized for like 5 minutes. But the first two, honestly, I thought it was food poisoning. I didn't even go to the hospital. I didn't even go to the doctor.
Really?
Yeah, it was. In fact, it was the next day when I was like,
What were your signs, if you could, just to let
look,
people
I
know?
won't go too deep into it, but the short version is it wasn't a big deal. I went to my doctor to ask for like an IV bag of fluid, just to ride out this stomach bug because I was throwing up. Couldn't keep water down.
So is throwing up a sign of a
exactly
stroke?
What I didn't want to talk about, right?
Yeah.
So basically, my doctor said, "Yeah, you're going to the ER." I was like, "Okay." So we drove to the ER, walked into the ER. They said, "You're not having a stroke." I said, "Well, my doc wants me to come." So my doc had asked for a CT, so they ran a CT and came back and said, "Wow, you have 2 strokes. So we're going to send you to the hospital." I was like, "That doesn't sound right. I'm 45, you guys." They sent me to the hospital, and all the doctors were just amazed. They were like, "How are you walking?" I'm like, "I don't know, with my feet." All right, I gotta go pee. They're like, "No, use this bedpan." I was like hell, get this out of my arm. I'm gonna go pee.
Gotta have limits.
This is what I didn't want to talk about. It's my personal medical stuff. Who cares? But good Lord, there's so much freaking gossip. So basically, they sent me home because I had no symptoms. I had no impairment. It was, I had a stroke. I threw up a little bit, went to the hospital. They're like, "You're good." So they sent me home. And so I walk in the door at my house, and my whole house is like filled with flowers and get well soon cards and condolences to my wife. And I'm like, why is everybody freaking out? And so the smartest political mind in my world is Barbara Stallone, and she said, "You need to put something out to stop the gossip." So we put out a little video where I was like, "Hey, thanks for your concern. I'm okay, right? Everything's cool. Catch you guys later." Famous last words. Because stroke number 3 was mean. Like, stroke number 3 knocked me down pretty bad. That one I actually was in the hospital for 2 weeks. Between neurological care and the rehabilitation. It was about 14 days I was in the hospital. It was pretty rough. And again, to overshare, there's 2 different types of strokes. There's a blood clot, which is called an ischemic stroke, and there is bleed, which is called an arterial dissection. I had both at the exact same time, which is super bad news bears, in case you're wondering. Because the treatment for a clot is blood thinners, treatment for a bleed is coagulants. You literally can't treat one without the other getting worse. So the only treatment that works for both is time. So I know people have been super impatient, but the fact of the matter is, look, I am okay. I'm going to be 100%. It just takes time. So it's frustrating, I've had to limit my work, I've had to limit my calls. But the reality is, I haven't stopped working. Okay, my brain still works. I can still make phone calls. I can still do my job. I can still whiteboard. I can still solve problems. I've just been dealing with headaches and fatigue, right? So we're mostly better. The bleed has stopped. We're doing okay. It's frustrating, but we made a deliberate healthcare choice to take the most certain route, right? There are faster ways to recovery, but there's a failure chance, right? So by just doing time, we basically give ourselves a 100% success rate. So that's it.
All right. So it's healthy.
Yep. So did I miss the legislative session? I missed part of it. The reality is, it was right in the middle of a lot of those treatments, and the stress of the session was detrimental to recovery. So by taking a break here, I give myself a 100% recovery here.
Well, and it's not worth, let's face it, the laws and all that isn't worth your livelihood, isn't worth your future well-being.
Isn't worth, widowing my wife or...
Yeah, you got a brand new child. He's what, 3?
2. He just turned 2.
Yeah, it isn't worth it.
Yep.
So what things are you looking at legislatively that you're setting aside your time for to work on?
Oh, yeah, the number, look, here's the thing. People tend to get rodeo clowned, right? They tend to get distracted by whatever the latest, shiniest outrage, manufactured outrage is in social media, right? David and I were talking about this just a minute ago. We don't seem to have learned from our 2 weeks to flatten the curve that when all of a sudden all the messaging is coordinated, everybody across every platform is saying the exact same things, pushing the exact same narrative, And anybody who questions, I used to watch Glenn Beck fanatically. And one of the things he used to say all the time is question with boldness. Question with boldness. But now, anyone who questions, even with just maybe a raised eyebrow, anybody who questions the narrative is isolated, ostracized, ridiculed, dismissed. We don't ask questions anymore. We eat whatever the outrage Facebook machine demands is the flavor of the week. And anyone who disagrees is an enemy. Do you have any idea how many times I've been called woke or liberal or moderate? Because just because it's popular doesn't mean it's right.
Well, what's the argument right now that's getting you called woke?
Look, here's the main thing. It doesn't matter what the flavor of the week issue is. For me, my commitment has always been life, liberty, and the right to keep and own property. Limited government, right? If the feds are making decisions as to where we build schools in Tooele, or which roads get prioritized when, you think anybody in Washington, D.C. can even pronounce Tooele?
Oh, we know for a fact they can't.
They cannot.
Yeah.
They can't find you on a map either. Which is why local control has always been a core value of conservatism. We're moving away from that. We're consolidating all the power in one man. Every single year we hear, "Oh, this is the most important election of our lifetime," and it's true every single year because we're 4 years down the road from Congress not doing a damn thing and consolidating more and more and more. Every 4 years, we have more power consolidated in the executive.
Well, you could argue that the Congress gave up their power in was it, 72?
Yep.
The executive branch is what's growing out of control from my perspective.
1,000%. And they could be reined in if Congress would do their damn job. But Congress doesn't do their damn job, which is why 4 years from now is going to be even more important than the last election was.
Yeah.
Because it's another 4 years of consolidated power. And whether it's our guy in office or their guy in office, for the love of God, stop spending our money.
Yep.
Wouldn't that be a dream come true?
Yeah, aren't I a moderate?
Sounds pretty woke.
There's a really, really funny joke in legislative circles that goes like this. We're recording, Jake.
We're picking up your mic.
Uh-huh.
Your broadcast signal is carrying.
Well, we'll close
Pretty
this
sure that's
down.
functioning as intended. I think it was deliberate.
I've got to figure out which one of them is picking up in there.
Well, let's close this little conversation
but
up.
can we get you to come on Zoom and
Absolutely,
and
but
dig
I
in
do want
deep
to
soon?
tell one truth. Okay? There's a joke in legislative circles. The difference between a conservative and a liberal is a liberal will spend money in your district.
Well, it's easy to
like
spend
it.
other
I'm
people's
going to write
money.
that one down.
Okay, everyone.
All right.
Good
Thank you,
Senator. We will have him on again real soon to dig in deeper. But apparently we got to bleed over, so I've got to go in there and see what the channel
Charlie
is.
Brown.
All right, thanks, man. Well, that was that. So to talk further about, I believe I know what he's talking about. Now, we do know that Senator Thatcher and our congressman, National Congressman Chris Stewart, has worked real hard on a suicide prevention bill. And Senator Thatcher has been a lot of times standing alone when it comes to how he wants to approach the problem du jour of today, the transgender issue. And we're hoping that in the next couple of weeks we can get him on to clarify and to take some questions and comments from listeners. I do have thoughts on the transgender issue. I do believe, looking at the numbers, that the rise of the numbers is a concern. It's happening a lot amongst youths. But then again, also for those of you who have listened to me for any matter of time, I don't think government proffers a solution ever. They've got no successes, or if there's any, they're small, minuscule, and very expensive, which negates the success part, at least in my mind. I don't know if there is a solution to be found in government, but I'd like to have the senator come on and talk about his thoughts on it, and also, let you guys be able to talk with him and have your points of view heard. And then maybe after that, I'll have honed in on what I think a better solution is. But, as of right now, my thoughts are, I think we're managing our children incorrectly if we're having this big of an explosion. And whatever the management vehicle is, I think that's where the issue lies. That's just my thoughts. If you're up thousands of % in any given issue in a matter of years, something has gone awry, or something is finally going right and has been awry for eons. But anyways, so it's the senator. He had strokes. I did want to get him to dig in on the symptoms, kind of as a health PSA, and hopefully I can talk him into doing that. Just saying, taking a few minutes when he does come on to say, these are the symptoms to look out for. If you're feeling any of these, if any of these are going on, you should, check in with the doctor. I recognize that your brain is a big processing unit for your whole body. So not all symptoms are the same, but I think it's better to be safe than sorry when it comes to something like that. I mean, that is, if not a life ender, it's a quality of life ender. And again, the senator is, he's younger than I am. He's a young man. So hopefully, hopefully his recovery goes well. I don't know what his aspirations for future office are, if he wants to continue down this path of being an elected official, or if he wants to finish out this, I think 6-year term, which I think he has 4 left, and then call it quits, or if he wants to continue on. I'm not sure about any of that. I haven't asked him. We'll ask him when we get him to come on. He did say he'd gladly come on and talk about it. And if there is an issue arising where people are calling on their elected officials to do something drastic, and he has the opportunity to belay those fires, I think that would be excellent. And I don't know. I'm not for sure on any of that, and I would not want to put words into his mouth or, accuse him of anything or whatever other things. And I'm hoping when he does come, we can get multiple voices from multiple angles to open up that discussion and hopefully, at least dissuade each other from, radical thought processes on that. But anyways, I'm going to close this out. Again, Senator Thatcher, thank you for taking the time and being bold and talking openly about that. That is a, stand-up move. Dave will be back next week, and we will have our regular show then. Everyone reach out and congratulate the new county elected officials. I will just for the sake of sakes, I will call out the names again. Holly Crowley Rabani, Alan Layton as vice chair, Mike Stewart as secretary, Whit Cook as treasurer, and the SEC is Whit Cook and Chad Grady Saunders. Also, I want to make a note of something. So, where are we at here? We've talked about it on the show with Holly, but there is that Patriot Camp that is going to be hosted at the Raceway this summer at the Desert Peak racetrack. Holly Whit's wife, who I met the other night, is a outstanding woman. And these are all people who want to do and help for the county. We're going to put together an official ad for it. They've already got one, and I'll probably just steal that. But I think that would be an excellent thing to send your kids to. And also, all right, let me throw this out there. There was a presidential straw poll held that night, and this is Republicans voting on who they want to see as president. Ron DeSantis came in first with 30 votes. Donald Trump had 16. Mike Pence had 7. Vivek Ramaswamy had 2. Nikki Haley had 2. Mitt Romney had 1. Asa Hutchinson had 1. Mike Pompeo had 1. And Tim Scott had 1. Now, I've been listening to DeSantis, Donald Trump, and Vivek Ramaswamy, and a little bit of Nikki Haley. And Donald Trump, known figure. I don't think we need to dig into him. Ron DeSantis is kind of a machine right now, moving through. He's been tripped up a little bit a few times, but he's still holding pretty strong. But the Vivek Ramaswamy, that is one guy that we know I'm not a voter, but listening to him talk, I'm very interested in what I hear him say, which is, I don't know, it's kind of preacherish and kind of sounds semi-religious, but I do like, I don't know, for some reason I like hearing that. It feels like we're in kind of a cultural crisis between two sides of the fence right now, and I don't know. His message has a lot of focus on that, but not in the way a lot of people think. He kind of sounds like he wants to be a big tent guy, and he's not bad-mouthing any direction. But I enjoy it. I enjoy listening to him talk. He's had a couple of really good talks that are interesting. And he also does his own podcast, so you can get on there and listen to him talk all the time, which that I like too, where he is a person that's communicating with multiple people, opening up his eyes to different ideas, which, I don't know, kind of gives me a pretty good thought about that. But anyways, I'm going to close this out. We're going to schedule, as soon as we can get him on, we're going to get Senator Thatcher on. I also want to thank, we had our representatives up there, Jimenez and Belinder. We're both there, chatted with them for a minute. Previous guests of the show were up there. Different people that have different, perspectives and knowledge, but it was a good one. Wish Dave could have been here for this, but he is down in Texas, enjoying what Texas has to offer. We will be back on Friday, maybe even in earlier, because we're ramping up for the election season and people reach out, and sometimes they only have a Tuesday or whenever. But everyone, have a good week. We just got done. The end of taxes is on Tuesday. And I just got done with my annual groveling to the thief, and I hope everyone else had a good tax season. It is not fun. every year, I think that flat tax would sure be simple. You just put in the income you had and it goes out the other side. I recognize that this adjusted tax and prorated crap sets us up so people has more investment and returns in business that could be added into a flat tax. I just think on a personal level, we need to do it a different way. Yeah. But anyways, another talk for another show. It'd be a fun one to dig into, is have a tax, people with different ideas on taxation come in and talk about it. But yeah, have a good Monday. Have a good week. Stay safe. And we will see you on Friday, if not before that, for some semi-emergency thing. All right. See you later.